This is Kevin Harrington, original shark from Shark Tank, inventor of the infomercial, and you're listening to Jamy Bechler from Success is a Choice.
Providing insights to help you grow your business, improve yourself, and add value to those around you. You're listening to the Success is a Choice podcast, where you get a peek into the lives of industry leaders as they share their stories with you.
Welcome to Success is a Choice podcast. I'm your host, Jamy Bechler. Today, very honored to have Bill Coelius on the show. Bill is an actor that's appeared in shows such as American Horror Story, Parks and Recreation, The Office, Criminal Minds, and Desperate Housewives. He's also appeared in more than 50 commercials. He now teaches people how to land some sweet gigs through his Working Actor Solution courses that run throughout the United States. Bill, thanks for being with us today.
Jamie, thank you so much, man. It's so great to be here. Thanks.
You've appeared in lots of movies, TV shows, commercials. Looking back on your career, and we're not putting you out to pasture yet. You still have a long ways to go in your career. But at this point, looking back at your career, what kind of stands out to you? What are some of the things you're most proud of?
That's a great question. I mean, the thing about actors is that there's never any guarantee of work, but there's always guarantee of another audition. Meaning that there's always the guarantee of another chance. And that's always what kind of drew me to it. I'm not a big 9-to-5 guy, and I learned that early in my career when I first started doing temp work, and I just was not very good at it. I also come from kind of a history of actors, and my father also acted, so I kind of had a little insight as to what to do, what to not to do, and just kind of broke off onto my own into that career. I recently did American Horror Story the last season when I was out in Los Angeles, and I don't know if you know the singer Lady Gaga, but she killed me in the episode, and so that was pretty sweet to be killed by Lady Gaga.
So you got that going for her. Yeah.
Yeah. It was, if anything, she gets to say I killed Bill Coelius. I mean, as limited as her accomplishments are.
Do you think that's what she leads with when she's at a cocktail party?
That is number one on her resume.
And then from there, if they have time, then she goes into singing the national anthem at the Super Bowl and all of her awards and that kind of stuff.
If she finds the time.
Okay.
If she finds the time to stop bragging from
That's
that
interesting.
experience.
Yeah.
I would argue, though, that my proudest accomplishment, though, has been the long game. Like, actually, how long I have stayed in. I'm 46. I'm 46, and I was acting since I was in high school. I started professionally acting, I would argue, around 1999. So I've been doing this for a while now, and I've been a union member this entire time. I've collected insurance. I don't know if your listeners know about that, but there is a full actors union. There are benefits there. If you make enough money, there is insurance. We had a baby 3 years ago. Well, my wife had a baby I watched, and that delivery cost us $26,000, and because of Screen Actors Guild insurance, it only cost us $2,000. So
that makes us want to be an actor.
Yeah.
I mean, great insurance.
I'm very, very lucky. But I'm one of the trench actors. I'm like the guy that you see, on the couch or with the clipboard. Or I've got a lot of small roles, and they're small roles, but there's a lot of them. And I'm a working actor. I'm a working stiff, and I'm most proud of that, to have been able to do that and teaching. Take a job when I want to and not have to take a job when I want to. So I think that's my proudest moment.
Well, not everybody can be a star. Not everybody can be the Bruce Willis or the Tom
nor do
Cruise
I want to be honest. You know what I mean? It's really annoying that people come up to you on the street, which luckily has never happened to me. No one has ever recognized me, which I kind of like. I like working. I like spending time with my family. I like my own personal interests, and this is my job, and I'm really good at it, and I put time into it, and it's the same as, if I was going into a 9-to-5. It's just that it's doing something that I absolutely love to do.
Well, we'll, in the show notes for this episode, we'll put some highlights and some clips of some of the things you've done in acting, because you've had some interesting ones. One, I noticed you did a commercial years ago with your brother.
Yeah.
The one that I remember, and you might have done more, but the one I remember is a New York Jets commercial where you're both New York Jets fans.
That was for the National Football League. So it was actually for the NFL, and the commercial was about this father and his young son. And they're both Jets fans, but the father changes allegiances every season, but the young son, growing up, it's like a time span, stays with the Jets the entire time until by the end of the commercial, the old man, who's now really old, is coming back to the Jets again. He's like, see, I told you, you always got to stay dedicated to your team as the now grown son rolls his eyes. But what was cool was that they just put me in old man makeup as the older that the father got, because I played the father. But then they started with a small baby on the couch and then would hire new actors to play my son as they got older. And they hired my brother to play my younger son, like in his 20s, and that was a blast. It was so much fun. A lot of money for everybody, and they got us tickets for the Chicago-Detroit game on Thanksgiving. 50-yard line. I couldn't believe it. It was like the greatest gift I ever gave to my family. They were so stoked.
Who or what, you mentioned your father was an actor, did some acting and also taught acting. Obviously, he was a big influence. Talk more about him or some of the other influences you've had along the way in acting.
Dad was definitely and is definitely one of them. I mean, I got started early because it was a passion of his, and that that was just something that I glommed onto as something that I would be interested in. So I cannot thank him enough for introducing me into this world, which is really great. I've had some incredible mentors and guides along the way, teachers, everyone from my college professors to, which is kind of interesting because, there's a path for everybody. And you can go to school for acting, which I did, but I never got cast in any of the productions until I actually graduated from school. So isn't that wild? And so at night I would go and do professional theater in Detroit because I was going to Eastern Michigan University, and I had to act. I had to do it. So I would actually go out and audition for professional roles, and I had all of my union cards by the time that I graduated from school. But I hadn't done a single college production the entire 4 years I was there.
Was that a blessing in disguise, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I learned so much doing it instead of being told how to do it, that I feel like that gave me an independence and knowledge that kind of gave me a boost when I entered into the quote-unquote, workplace after I graduated from college. I just went down to Chicago and just hit the scene running because I'd been doing it for 4 years, Whereas so many of my counterparts kind of struggled moving from the classroom to the actual auditioning and performance of it. I've also had some really great teachers, a guy named John Osborne Hughes, who I have to give credit to for changing my psychology, changing my mindset. And I'm also working with an incredible teacher right now called Dallas Travers, who's actually teaching me a lot about the business side of acting, which is, there's your passion, and then there's how am I going to make money out of this. So that's also been really helpful.
And you can pass that on then to the students and the people that you influence. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that says Bill Coelius is the person that's helped me the most. Talk a little bit about what you're doing now, mainly with the Working Actor Solution program that you have.
Well, I can't tell you how blessed I feel because I not only get to do what I love, but I also get to teach it, which is also something that I love to do. I absolutely adore teaching, and there's nothing I get more excited than my students when they book a job from what they've learned from my class. I get overexcited. And I teach several classes. I teach and this is from my own experience of doing this for 20 years. I teach everything from commercial acting to film and TV to the mindset of the audition. Which is a lot like the mindset of the business interview or the mindset of the, what do you do when you have 30 seconds left on the clock kind of thing. Actors have an average of 7 minutes in that audition room to convince their bosses that they're the ones that need to be hired. And that comes with an incredible tension, an incredible fear, an incredible void, of terror. And if so much is on the line, so how are you going into that room? What is your mindset? How are you physically? Have you done your work? This is what I teach my students. And so when that translates to actual work for them, I had a student that just reached out to me last week. I can't believe it. She just booked a commercial campaign for Kindle. It's an international campaign, which means that she's going to be in commercials all over the world, and that is a six-figure salary.
Wow.
That's a six-figure salary, yeah. So her year is taken care of. And she called me and she said, look, it's all because of what I learned in your class. And that, nothing makes me happier. I get more excited about that than if I actually book a job. Just that I can spread this knowledge around, and it also works for other people. Like I work with executives, I work with people who are interviewing, I work with people who are anything where you have to perform, which is, as you know, like as an athletic coach, as a mindset motivational speaker, it's like, where are you when the time is for you to step up? Where are you in your mind? Where are you in your body? And it's an incredibly powerful thing to be able to pass that information on about what has helped me to help others. It's just the best.
And you do this throughout the country, is that right?
I do. I teach bi-coastally. I'm in New York, so I teach my brick and mortar classes are usually here in New York City. But I fly out to LA, I fly out to Portland, I taught in Detroit. Yeah, I go all over. There's classes opening up in Chicago. And what's really exciting is that all of this information is going online. So you'll be able to coach with me wherever you are. And so that's really kind of exciting. That's kind of where this is heading into 2018, because also I have a 3-year-old and I'm not allowed to leave the house.
Yep, and you got to do it. You got to do what the wife says.
Yeah, totally. And I'm actually it's a lot nicer to be getting a hug from my daughter than sitting in an airplane next to some enormous guy that has peanuts all over his chest.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
Yeah.
But you should be, you should be flying first class, right?
That would be sweet. Well, what's cool is that when you do commercials, and let's say they hire you in New York and it's shooting down in Atlanta, they have to fly you first class, which is amazing. I just shot a commercial in the Canary Islands, and they flew me internationally over to the coast of Spain, so that was really fun too. So you never know about the opportunity of this work, and that's one thing that really excites me about it, is that tomorrow could be completely different.
So I watched some of your videos or Facebook Live from when you were down in the Canary Islands, and one thing that stood out to me, you had a great piece of advice that I'm not sure most people would think about before they go shoot a commercial, but you were there before you shot the commercial, obviously, and it's really hot, and you went to the beach, and you got a little sun. That can make the makeup artist have to work a little harder, huh?
Well, it's kind of interesting because you have to be really careful. You have to present yourself as kind of like an open template when you show up on set, because now they need to use you for what they need you for. So if you go to the beach and you get a little sun, a little redness, that creates more work for others. So it's always a really interesting question to ask. And this is really the foundation of where I'm coming from. This is probably one of the main reasons I feel like I'm here is on your podcast here today. What basically the main piece of information I have to offer anyone is that the foundation of my career, and hopefully the foundation of my students' careers, is rooting everything in service. Basically asking the question, how can I help? How can I help? How can I be in the flow of service, and how can I make everyone's job easier? And I'm not necessarily talking about, being friendly and approachable or trying to change the room or being Mr. Smiley. I'm just talking about being present to the moment to recognize what is needed now. How can I help now? How can I help now? How can I help now?
Because ultimately you are there to serve their needs in that commercial. What is it that they need? You want the paycheck, you want the gig, but ultimately there's other people competing for that spot, and you're trying to show that you're the guy that can help them what they need at that moment.
Yeah. It's been my experience that a majority of everyone on the other side of the camera, the director, the producers, the clients, if it's a commercial, are terrified because they have no idea if the spot's going to work. They have no idea if the commercial is going to work. They have no idea if the show is going to work. And everyone is on the line. Careers are on the line. There's no way that you can be more nervous than they are. I'll get another audition. We'll get another job interview. We'll get another opportunity. These guys may never work for this company again, depending on how this commercial goes. So when we enter into these rooms, these audition rooms, these board rooms, whatever it is, if you want to expand it into your own career, the court, if you are present to the moment, which means that you are out of your head in fear-based thinking. Oh, my God, no one here looks like me. Oh, my God, everybody here looks like me. Is this shirt right? My personal favorite. If you are putting your energy out to recognize what is needed in the moment, then your box is ticked, and that's really your only job. I've just found that by being present in that moment, the universe, the void, your coach, your director, whoever it is that's asking something of you will never ask something that you can't handle. If you are present to that moment. It's only when we're in fear-based thinking that we get muddled, confused, and make indecisive or wrong decisions. But if we're present to that moment, the answer arises very easily. And that's just in my experience, and that's what I try and teach my students.
That's good. And related to that service, you mentioned something I really liked, and it just crosses over, so many industries. But talk a little bit about how you treat the person that brings you a bottle of water, or how you treat the person that picks you up from the hotel to take you to the audition or whatever.
Right. Well, it's been my experience in my career that this race of it is not a sprint, it's a marathon, and it's not a straight line, it's a circle. I will meet the exact same people over and over and over again because the industry circle just gets smaller and smaller and smaller the longer you hang around and the more you become an old man like myself. Now, I work with the same directors over and over again. I work with the same people on set over and over again. You'll just start recognizing people because it's just every industry has its group. So you want to meet everyone in joy. You want to meet everyone in service. I've always said that the most important person on set isn't the director. It's not the director of photography, the guy who shoots it behind the camera. It's not even the client, the people who are hiring you. It's that first production assistant, that poor lowly guy Kevin with the headset on who brings you a bottle of water. Because Kevin has been told, you see that actor over there? You need to go serve them. In so many words, right? So that when they serve you, your only job is to serve them back. You learn their name. You learn something about them. Because there's also a hierarchy to every set of action. So when you start getting parched or you're thirsty in front of that camera, you don't ask the first person in front of you for a bottle of water, who's usually the director of photography who happens to have one of the most important jobs on set, doesn't want to be bothered. Instead, what you find is Kevin, whose name you now know. Hey, Kevin, can I get a bottle of water? With the straw and services maintained. Plus, Kevin is going to start directing commercials in about 5 years, and he's going to remember you're the only actor who ever remembered his name. I mean, think of your own career. Think of your own, everybody out there who's listening, think of your own trajectory. It's like you will meet these people again in your field over and over and over again. So how are you presenting yourself? Even if they may not be able to offer you anything now, even if there's a status difference now, I guarantee you that status is going to change in about 5 years. So how are you treating them now?
Yeah, and that's, take care of those who take care of you. And it's not the worst thing. There's a lot worse things in the world than being nice and kind to people. I mean, it's not that hard to do, just to be nice and considerate and respectful.
Yeah. Well, I love that thing that Wayne Dyer says. Wayne Dyer says, we're working off this idea that the world is a mirror. So that when we ask the world, how can I help? The world asks back, how can I help you? When we ask, how can I help? But when am I going to get a job? The world asks back, how can I help? But you got to keep giving and giving and giving. And then we get exhausted and we quit.
We'll return to this entertaining interview with Bill Coelius shortly, but I wanted to thank today's show sponsor, HostGator.com. You may not have heard of HostGator, but that's probably because they don't have the flashy, cool commercials like GoDaddy or the big-time celebrity endorsements like Danica Patrick. But I don't need a pretty actress convincing me what website to get because she's not coming through that door anytime soon when I need help with the site. Come to think of it, HostGator should probably hire Bill Coelius to do a commercial since he is the man when it comes to commercials. Anyways, I digress. You see, HostGator.com is easy to use, and they've helped me out quickly every time that I've had a question. And right now, they are offering our listeners up to 50% off the regular price when you use coupon code SUCCESS at HostGator.com. Cheap and easy. That's how I like my websites. And on that note, back to our interview with Bill Coelius. You produced a cool little short movie a few years ago called Bigger Than Clooney. And that was kind of from start to finish. It didn't go to the box office. It didn't go into theaters. You don't find it on Netflix, but it was a real movie that you made with lots of actors and lots of effort. And it had a cool little premise to it. Can you describe that or talk about that a little bit?
For anyone who's not an actor out there, there's a thing that exists called IMDb, which is the Internet Movie Database. It's kind of a big, it'll give you all information about any movie that you've ever seen, any TV show, who the actors are, who the directors are, but also one of the things that's included with the IMDb is what's known as the star chart, and it's this horrific, awful thing that tracks each actor's popularity. So let's say George Clooney is like number 3, like all the time, right? But it changes. Right now, I am like
not 103,000.
Yeah, I'm 103,000, right? So of all the actors I rank most popular, I'm like at 103,000. So I was like, this is crazy. Like when I saw this, I was like, that just makes me feel horrible. I was like, I wonder what would happen if by some computer glitch I became bigger than Clooney. I wonder what would happen if there was some computer error that actually put me above Clooney, and what would that look like? So I just wrote this quick script, and I really laughed out loud. It made me laugh a lot because it's me living the Hollywood experience in 24 hours, and then it all changes after the computer glitch gets fixed, and then I go back to 100,000, and Hollywood ignores me again. But for those brief 24 hours, I'm living like this, me, Bill Coelius, Shlomo from Michigan, Midwest, just living this high life. So it was really fun. And then I had a friend who was a director of photography. He was like, I read it to him as we were laughing one day. He's like, you should shoot this. I was like, that's a great idea. Let's make it. And of course that came with a lot of pushback, which was really interesting to watch my mental game on this, because I was really scared of it. I'd never done anything on my own. I had to organize everything. I directed it. I had to get all the actors together. I had to get the crew together. I had to find locations. I had to costume. I had to feed. I had to produce. And so it was quite the project. And it's only, like you said, it's like a 5-minute film. It's really small. It took us like a week to shoot, and it was huge. It was huge. Like I had these really big sprawling scenes and a lot of actors, and I just called in all my friends to help, and it was like it was a great experience. Like it really left me more empowered. And you can actually see it. You can go to, if you've ever heard of this website called Funny or Die, which is run by Will Ferrell. You can see it. Just go and search Bigger Than Clooney.
And we'll put that in the show notes as well, so people can go there. Now, did you crash a Civil War reenactment, or how? Because you have scenes in there where obviously you're not paying all those people, I wouldn't think.
Right. Well, one of the last scenes, I get hired for a big Hollywood blockbuster movie, just purely on my rating alone, right? And the way that I'd written it was kind of like the opener to Saving Private Ryan, where they're storming the beach and the planes are flying overhead and the bombs are dropping. And my cameraman was like, how are you going to do that? I was like, that's a good point. And then the very next week, I read in the newspaper about how there was a Civil War reenactment 30 minutes from where I lived. So we took some of the crew down, and I rented a Civil War outfit, and we just shot around it as if this was our movie. And it's a public event, so you can take pictures, you can shoot, and we got right in there. I mean, we were in the middle of it, and we had like 1,000+ extras, and we made these huge war scenes look like it was just the most natural thing in the world, and all we really did was just went down there on a Saturday and just shot around it. It was so much fun. And I really encourage people, if you have a pet project, even if it's everything from pottery to writing your book that you've had in the back of your head for a while, to building that barn, whatever it is, I cannot encourage you enough just to go for it, because you feel it's such a pain in the butt, and it feels so great when you're done. You really feel empowered when you turn thoughts into when you manifest it into something physical. It's an amazing experience.
That's a great story. Great story. And so many of us have ideas inside of us, and we are the ones that stop ourselves most of the time. Well, this can't work.
Jamie, that's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. And look, all you're doing is choosing that negative thinking. The positive thinking of this could work, I just have to put some time and attention to it, is the exact same energy of the negative thinking. The logic is the exact same. It's what you're really choosing to believe in. I really do believe that. And that's what helped me make Bigger Than Clooney.
Nice. Well, where can people go to connect with you or find out more about you?
And I would love that. If you're listening to this and any of this is making sense, even if you're not an actor and you're just interested in this kind of thinking to apply to your own work, you can look me up at, well, first you can reach out through email at info@theworkingactorsolution.com. You can also go to the website, theworkingactorsolution.com, and just take a look. Yeah, and if you've never acted before and it's something that you want to try, I cannot encourage you enough to try it. Did you know that public speaking is the number 2 fear behind death? People are more afraid of getting up and speaking than they are actually dying, or a second to dying. So it's if you can combat that, you can work on like getting up in front of people and expressing yourself. I'm telling you, there's no greater feeling in the world. And then you get killed by Lady Gaga.
Now, when you go for that audition, did you have to? Did you know you were going to be killed?
No, there's a thing called an NDB, which is a NDA. A non-disclosure agreement, which means, and you have to sign these every time you do like a big project, or let's say Toyota doesn't want you to know about their new type of car, so you have to sign a non-disclosure agreement saying that there's no social media, you won't talk about it until it's released, you cannot disclose any information about this product or this show. So I didn't even know that Lady Gaga was in my scene until the day I showed up. I knew that I was getting killed, but I had no idea who it was, and then, oh my God.
So she didn't know that you were going to, she had no idea that Bill Coelius was going to be in her scene.
The look on her face.
Yeah.
The look on her face, just priceless. Finally, it's him. I finally get to work with him.
She crossed something off on her bucket list that day.
I'm just here to help,
I mean, singing Sound of Music with Julie Andrews, nothing compared to being in a scene with Bill Coelius.
Being able to slit Bill Coelius' throat.
There's probably a few people that would like that to be on the bucket list.
There are. I'm here to help.
Let's finish up with a couple rapid fire questions, just some random questions.
Sure.
I don't know if you watch or listen to podcasts or read any books, but if you do, are there any that you would recommend to our audience?
I know this is a classic, but I can't suggest it enough. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle is a game changer. It's a fantastic book. Mark Maron's podcast, WTF, is very blue and a lot of language, but it's really interesting, and it's introspective, and it's kind of fascinating. Radio Lab is also a really interesting podcast, just about all kinds of topics and information. And of course, your book, Jamy. I'm serious. I cannot express enough how everyone should be buying this thing and reading it. It's great.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Your check is in the mail. Who would be somebody that you would love to act with? An actor that you haven't met, you haven't dealt with before, but you would love to act with this person.
Everyone from obviously like the Intimidators, like Meryl Streep, to Philip Seymour Hoffman, which is impossible since he's passed. But I mean, all the greats to actually learn on the job. I learn the most when I'm totally out of my league, when I'm in a scene with somebody who is obviously 10 times better than I am, and it's really great to be in that moment, to be terrified and exhilarated and learning and watching all at the same time.
Okay.
I love that. So anyone who's, let's say, on that star meter, 10 and above, that would be great. I also want to work with my friends. I think that that's a really important thing. Like, now that I'm older, I have like a good posse of professional actor friends who I love to watch work, and to get into a scene with them and really work it out, there's nothing better.
There's got to be something said for that, because you see people like Will Ferrell or Adam Sandler, and they tend to work with a lot of the same people.
It is such a joy. You already have such a language together, It's great.
Related to that, is there someone you'd like to sit down with dinner, someone maybe not in the acting field, and just meet and spend some time with?
Warren Buffett.
Yes.
Warren Buffett, man. I would love to sit down with some who seem pretty cool and open and incredibly wealthy and generous, and just pick their brains and ask them questions and just see how they live. As an actor, I'm just constantly observing and just watching other people and see how they react to things, because the whole idea is that nothing human is alien to me. Meaning that I'm going to try my best trying to understand where you're coming from, because I may have to play you as a character someday. So it's not going to be fun if I have no idea who I am. when I'm in front of that camera. You know, I had to actually give some sort of intellectual and physical realism to what I'm doing. And so that's why meeting new people is always a joy. Even the people who just have complete different philosophies than me. It's like, how did you come to that thinking? What's that all about? And sitting down with that dude, yeah, I mean, his accomplishments, amazing.
You know, you deal with acting all the time, you know, fake. You're used to being fake all the time. But no, what reality show would you like to be on if you could be on any reality show?
That's really funny. You know, I've never watched a reality show.
Okay.
Isn't that crazy?
You're probably
I've
better off for it. You have more brain cells.
I've never seen one. I'll tell you why. One, it's taking money out of my child's mouth. Well, not that I feed my child money, but it's, you know, every reality show takes money away from a working actor like myself because they don't actually hire actors for the show. So boo on the reality shows. That's what I say. But they are fascinating, though, right? Kind of amazing. But yeah, I can't tell you because I don't watch them.
Well,
what's your favorite?
Sports.
Well, that is
sports.
Do you count sports as a reality show?
Absolutely, it's the ultimate reality show.
That's pretty good.
But
that's pretty good.
No, the only reality show I watch other than sports is I watch Shark Tank and The Profit.
Oh, right. You know what? I have seen Shark Tank. That was pretty good. To me, I mean, I just feel like it's so funny. Like I spend so much time in front of the camera, both in auditioning as well as doing my job, but actually having a camera follow me around in my real life just sends shudders down my spine. Like I could not, that just makes me cringe. Like that would make me so uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective.
But to have actually like people who just need that and want that, that just blows my mind. Like, wow, that's really interesting to me.
Well, you know, I wonder if it's similar because I speak a lot and I'm up on stage a lot. But when I'm in a small group of people or people that maybe don't know who I am or what I do, you know, when they find out that I speak, they're like, but you haven't said anything. It's like, yeah, because I don't. I'm enjoying not saying anything. I'm enjoying just observing and listening.
I'm off the clock, man.
That's right. I'm off the clock. What would you consider maybe your most important habit or quality that's led you to your success or contributed to your success?
I think just bullheaded tenacity above all. It's like you can't, because, you know, I mean, my booking rate is pretty high, but I would say I have like 100 auditions for every 10 jobs.
Okay.
So I will get told no 90 times before I get told yes. Imagine that.
And how do you handle that? A lot of people listening to this, they go through rejection, and just one rejection throws them into a spiral. How do you handle that?
Bourbon is helpful. No, I joke. I meditate. I have a great family life. I have I have great hobbies. I'm very curious, and I also know, well. You know, some of the greatest advice I ever got was from my aunt, who was a real estate agent. And I was really young. I was in her office once, and she slammed the phone down, like, really hard. And it was shocking to me because she's a very, very gentle lady. And I was like, what happened? And she goes, you know, Bill, I'll tell you what happened. I just got off the phone with a client, and I've been working with her for 6 months, and she just cut the deal. It's over. It's done. And I was a little angry about that, I'll tell you. But you know what? She told me no. And you know what that means? And I was like, what? I'm one step closer to a yes. And the math of that is absolutely true. You cannot be told no your entire life. It's not possible. So that means mathematically, scientifically, every time you get told no, that means a yes is one step closer. And so that's what I've kind of helped feed me. I'm like, oh, right, this wasn't the one, but the one is coming. The one is coming, and it's closer.
And similar to what you experienced in college, where you weren't doing the college shows that seemed like it would be what you were supposed to do as a college acting student, but you were actually doing something better that you may not have thought was better at the time, or you may have been a little disappointed not getting some of those gigs in college.
Right. Yeah, I was severely disappointed that I wasn't getting booked because all my friends were, you know.
Other than your current job, which is an amazing job, most people's dream job would be to be an actor. But other than that, what would be something you would want to do as a job?
That's a really good question. I had no idea.
It's all you've ever known?
It's pretty much all I've ever known. I mean, well, that's not true. I actually did a list of all the jobs I've had, not including acting jobs. I've done 50 other jobs, like just making money when I first started out, like from waitering to driving flower trucks to painting. You know, I've had 50 different jobs, much less the 100 times I've been on set. I just feel so blessed to be able to have that wealth of experience of just, I've done a lot, and a lot of stuff that was really awful, a lot of stuff that made me very tired, didn't pay me much, but I've always met incredible people. You always meet the most interesting people on those jobs. You stretch yourself, you learn. So I would say that, although I've really only ever acted and taught, I've done everything else as well. So I feel like kind of lucky to have the combination of both of those. But I can't really tell you anything that I would just stop all of this to do something else. I don't think that there's anything out there that really excites me and gets me out of bed and gets my brain working like the work that I do now.
Well, Bill, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Jamie, thank you for doing this, and thank you for hosting. It was an absolute blast. Thank you.
That was a fun interview with Bill Coelius. It's not every day that you get to talk with someone that was bigger than George Clooney for a day and was also killed off by Lady Gaga. Such is the world of Hollywood. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to click that little subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any future episodes. Thanks so much for listening. And until next time, remember that success is a choice. What choice will you make today?